Welcome to Daniel Reviews. I'm Daniel Goodwin. Today we are looking at the Alloyman corded spray gun. Let's get into it. All right, so this is what you get in the box. You get some safety glasses, you get a pair of gloves, you get, of course, the main unit itself right here. You get three tips that go on the gun. The sprayer, I should say. Shouldn't call it a gun. You got a clean out tool, as well as probably a pin release. You get a strainer for your paint, or oil, I guess, if you're using. And then you get the actual tank right here. Cut it out. And you get a little funnel filter that you can filter through here. Not bad. I mentioned it comes with three different tips, though actually it probably technically comes with four. This one here, you have to look at these very carefully, but they do say on them what size they are. So this is you might not see it on the camera, it's a 1.8 millimeter tip. This one is a 1.5, and this I think is a 1.0 if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, 1.0. And then the way these work, of course, is that you just unscrew this, you pull off the part, and then here's your tip that slides in right here, and it just pulls out. And this one, I think the one that comes installed in the unit is a, gosh, if I can't make it out, is it a 3? It's very, the only, I guess, minor criticism is that the markings on these are really hard to make out. I think this is a 3 millimeter. But anyway, you know, to install the tips, it just kind of slides in there, presses in pretty good, and then you use this in the ring to tighten it down tight. This is going to be your spray pattern. So if it's like this, it's going to spray out sideways. And if you twist it like that, it's going to spray out in a vertical fan. Pretty straightforward. This is your trigger for it, that you will pull that and it will spray once it's built enough pressure. And you know, this is of course the straw from which it is sucking your paint out of this container. It's all really simple. Okay, I've got everything set up. I just wanted to show something that surprised me. So I have a, you know, pretty standard, I think, extension cord, the kind of the green kind you get at Home Depot around Christmas time. And for whatever reason, I cannot plug this in. It doesn't seem to fit. I've compared it to other things, and there doesn't look like there's anything wrong with this plug. It should work, but it doesn't plug into this. And maybe it's the extension cord's fault, but I got one of these, you know, 3 plugs. Also, you see a lot this time of year. That plugs in just fine, and I can plug the paint sprayer into this one just fine. No problem whatsoever. So very unusual. Some really old semi-gloss white paint that I'm going to use for this test. And it is super thick. It's a latex paint. I've used it just kind of for various projects around the house. It's not a you know, fancy paint by any means. I think I got it from the Restore, and it's like I said, it's a super thick paint, and I thought this would be a really good test. Like, if this thing can handle this paint, I think it can handle anything. I'm going to try out this filter and see what it does. Just again, because this paint is, well, in my opinion, is super thick. I'm almost feeling like it's not going to go through the filter. Right, we've loaded just enough in the bottom of the gun here that you can see how much paint's in there. Not a ton. I will say this is going to be a massive challenge. This is some really thick old paint. In fact, might need to thin it out to see if it'll work, but we're going to give it a go. All right, we're going to run this through. I got just a little bit of paint flowing. We're going to see how it handles this thick paint. Okay, well, what do I think so far? I just did I don't know, 4 or 5 small coats on this return vent cover, and in an enclosed garage because it's cold and it's December and yeah, all that. And I'm very impressed in that I'm pretty sure I initially covered this with the old rattle cans, right? And those work. Don't knock that, but the smell and the fumes would be overwhelming in a small place like this. With the Alloyman sprayer, you know, there might be a little bit of paint specks in the air, and I should probably have my mask on, honestly, but it really isn't bad. There's not that huge, strong, overwhelming, again, fumes in the air. It's none of that. It's all a high volume, low pressure air system, and it sprayed it really well with, again, this paint that I'm using. It's old paint. And honestly, it feels more like Jello than paint, and it's spraying that. I'm impressed. This is after, again, just 4 or 5 coats, and it's definitely brought the vent cover back to life, but I'm very impressed at how well the Alloyman sprayed that. It's pretty crazy. Okay, some quick thoughts after just doing that quick, you know, very small craft project I got going there. Very impressed. It's every bit as good as the old Wagner model I had, I don't know, several years ago. Probably better. A couple things I like about it more than the Wagner is that it's much lighter than the one that I had before. I mean, it's very easy to just pick up and swing around, even with some paint in it. I mean, that's going to affect all of the things. It's a little loud, but not like crazy. I mean, you're trying to push a lot of paint, and you know, noise is going to be part of the program there. You know, it's just whatever. What impressed me the most was, again, the paint I was using. I was not being kind to this sprayer. I was giving it a real test. This is some really old, really thick paint, and I think I even mentioned it really looked more like Jello than paint. It was so thick, and it sprayed it. It wasn't like a smooth, even spray the whole time, but it was absolutely usable. I think, of course, with new paint, a nice quality paint, something like a you know, Sherwin-Williams or a Behr Premium, something like that, it's going to have no problem with that. If it can spray this stuff, it can probably spray just about anything. You know, take that with a grain of salt. Okay, well, the most important part, or second most important part after it's spraying, is cleanup, right? So I'm just going to put this in the sink and do my best to clean it up and see how difficult it is. But real quick, before I get into the cleanup, I just want to show you how thick this paint is. It is not coming out. There it goes, finally. This is some thick, thick paint. All right, let's get to work. Okay, see if we can get this out now. There we go. Just kind of reach in with this tool and pull it out like that. And we're going to start running water through it and cleaning it out so that we don't have dried paint in there. So as you can see, you can get through there pretty good with the cleaning tool. And then just run paint, or run water through it. So I just showed you the kind of the hard way to clean this thing up. And now I'm going to show you a much easier way. And that is to fill this up with hot soapy water, put it in here, and then we're just going to spray the water out of here through the gun to clear out any of the remaining paint that is sitting still inside the chambers, or tubes I should say. All right, that's going to wrap up this review. Just do a quick recap. One, well, I'll just start with overall impressions. Very impressed. It sprayed some of the worst old nasty paint that I had sitting around. Definitely would not have expected that. So if it can eat that like a champ, it can definitely handle, you know, good quality paints that haven't been sitting around in the house for a couple of years. It's lightweight. Love that. Comes with 3 different size tips. For me, I'm probably going to go with the the largest one because I'm going to mostly be doing latex paint. But it's nice to have those options if you're doing a varnish or something much thinner than a thick latex. You have that. Good quality construction. I didn't go over this too much, but the grip has got that kind of a molded rubber. I've talked about that with other tools. I love that. I think that's just makes it feel so comfortable in your hand. Very ergonomic. Doesn't feel clunky or cheap. I would absolutely 100% recommend one of these over, again, the Wagners that I had. And maybe they've gotten better. I'm not trying to put them down. Just they kind of worked. They weren't great. This worked really, really well. If you're doing, again, small projects, you're not going to paint your house with this. You've got just a quart-sized container. You're obviously going to be refilling that a lot. So it's a small project. These are kind of things that maybe you would normally use the rattle cans for. This is going to be a much better option for you, much more affordable, really, and you won't have all those crazy, terrible fumes and stuff. So wholeheartedly recommend it. I think for the price, it's a no-brainer. It's a great value. You're going to get your money's worth out of it easily. A couple projects and you got your money was worth out of it. So I think that'll do it. Hopefully you found that helpful. I'd say definitely add this one to your collection. I don't think you'll be sorry about that at all. I'll include the link below, and just it's again, 2 thumbs up. I was so impressed it handled that god-awful paint. All right, I think that does it. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you in the next video.